Welcome and welcome to the president. How are we doing this morning? The day after a very professional win against Luton at the Emirates. The title race hits up, regardless of some of you are complaining. Oh, Arsenal should have scored more goals. Arsenal they look this we're not looking aesthetic players as they used to be. Arsenal did not bleed Luton away. I understand your frustrations. I know you want Arsenal to all the time give you the most exciting football all the time. That is not possible, right? There'll be some games we'll just be professional. We have a lot of games to negotiate uh in coming weeks. We cannot afford. Let me make sure the audio is doing fine. Yeah. So we have a lot of games to negotiate. We cannot afford to be gassing out in all the games, playing as technically playing football, going 100 miles an hour. That is not sustainable. That is not smart. No teams play. Even Man City and Liverpool don't play like that. No Man City, Liverpool run around sometimes. They don't go hundreds hours an hour every time. 100 miles an hour, sorry, every time. So let's not be disingenuous. Let's be sensible. He doesn't work that way. So Hala prevailed us, scored the 4, 5, 6 goals yesterday for my ego boost, for me to brag. But a victory is a victory. That's what's most important. Now let's look at some of the key players that actually stood out yesterday. For me, Partey. No, Partey has not had his first start in a long, long time. We know Partey has been struggling with all kinds of thigh injuries and muscle injuries. He came in for a few minutes against City at the weekend. For the first time in a long while, Partey actually started the game. He played for 66 minutes, and those 66 minutes, we could see that the passing is different. Nobody's trying to compare him with Rice, but let's be fair. Defensively, Rice is better, right? Uh, Athletically, at this moment, Rice is superior. But those passing between the lines, those drives and those dribbles, let's not cap. Partey looked outstanding yesterday, even though he played for 66 minutes. Hopefully, at the weekend, he can move it from 66 to maybe to 80 minutes or 90 minutes. I don't mind because we need Partey in the runnings we are going to have. In the league and the Champions League, we need a fit Partey to propel us forward. Now, Rice was on the bench for was on the bench. He came in the 67 minutes for Partey. You could see we need to rotate. We did a few of rotation yesterday. And now, if you watch the game as a neutral, right, you might be offended. Shout out to High Priest. Shout out, big up. Shout out to you. Some of you might be offended that the game was a tad disjointed. Our passes were not as crisp as before because we brought in 5 changes. Now, Zinchenko used to be a first teamer. I say first teamer, but he has been out for a while. Came in the defense. In the midfield, we had Partey, Odegaard, and Smith Rowe. Those three have never played together, so you expect a bit of adaptation with those three. In the offensive third, we have Trossard on the left. Right, we had Chris Nelson on the right, and we had the car in the middle. So you should expect that the flow will not be flawless. It happens because we had 5 significant changes. Now, Luton might be a small team, though they are up for a fight. Luton will not just come to the Emirates, roll all over, and allow Arsenal to pummel. They also work that way. So it was not this most scintillating game to watch, but the result is what is more important once it gets to the business end of the season. Every time we always hear the business of the season, result is what that matters, not the performance. A lot of us want result and performance to matter. But let's be fair. If you have to choose one, do you want a performance or a result? I'll pick a result. I will love both. But sometimes you don't have an ideal world, you don't have an ideal situation of both performance and result. So I don't really care a professional performance from the boys yesterday. They manage themselves. They understood that they do not have to. They do not have to dispense unnecessary energy. Why can't some of you just have some brain? Why we don't have to dispense unnecessary energy to try and impress? We have a game to play on Saturday against Brighton. Then we have Bayern to play on Tuesday. You do not have to dissipate unnecessary energy. We managed the game effectively, and that was the smart thing to do, whether you like it or not. I know for a lot of Arsenal fans, ego, you wanted us Arsenal to go 100 miles per hour, score a few more goals, so I can go to other people's channel or panels to brag. Sorry, grow up. When it gets to this part of the season, when you are competing against a team like Liverpool, a team like Man City, the results are of the utmost importance. Shout out to High Praise. He comes in the game. For our tougher games, Partey and Rice should be starting. Zini is not really is really Zini is not really a necessity to me, especially for a top game. Yeah, I agree with you. I think for our tougher games, maybe when we play Manchester United at Old Trafford, when we go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I'll actually be hoping that Touchwood, Partey is still fit. We can have a combination of Partey and Rice in midfield. That's a solid midfield in terms of aggression, in terms of physicality, in terms of tech, in terms of movement, both forward and backward, offensive and defensively. That is a solid world class midfield, in my opinion. So Zeni is not really a necessity, I understand. But against Luton, come on, Zeni is not a liability in context. I know Zeni can be clumsy. See, we all have to understand that Zeni can be clumsy, but still a quality. He adds a bit of quality to our team. He comes in the midfield. He gives us a creative outlet. So let's not be hypo. Let's not just push hyperbole every time I say Zeni is a dud. Zeni is not good enough. Let's not do that. A lot of us were celebrating Zeni ahead of Kerentieni. We moved from Kerentieni to Zeni. I know Zeni defensively annoys the crap out of a lot of Arsenal fans, which I understand. But what he provides for us offensively, nobody in that team can provide. So let's not. It's a balancing act. It's a balancing act, right? Against bigger teams, rather. Let's play Tomiyasu there, or sometimes Kivio. But against the likes of Luton, or maybe Sheffield United, come on, Zini should be perfect enough to do a job, in my humble opinion. Shout out to you, High Priest. So back to the party conversation. I was happy he played 67 minutes yesterday. Hopefully against Brighton, he can play 90 minutes so he can build up his fitness and build up his athleticism. You could still see he's a tad rusty, athletic wise. He was moving through freely, but the passing range was still sharp. The vision, the IQ is still sharp, and I love the fact that Arteta gave him those minutes. Hopefully, he can play at the weekend. We saw the only disappointing or most disappointing performance for me yesterday was Reece Nelson. I was hoping Reece Nelson was going to take that chance with both hands and actually show Arteta something, but unfortunately, he didn't show anything. It was very pedestrian. It was overly safe for a player that a lot of people have been pushing that Arteta should give minutes to. Now, he has justified the reason why Arteta doesn't give minutes to certain players, because once you give them, because I saw the same response against Brighton. Was it Brighton? No, I saw him this season in a game that he actually looked decent. I'm not saying Reece Nelson is a world beater, but he could do more than he was doing yesterday. It was overly safe. He was overly passing to the side. He wasn't taking his man on. And for me, that was extremely disappointing. It just shows that our priority this summer is to get in a winger. We need to get in a winger. So when the likes of Martinelli or Saka are not starting, we still have our pace in front. We still have our trickery in front, because without Martinelli and Saka starting yesterday, we struggled a little bit. But shout out to Trossard. Trossard on the left was doing his thing, was taking man on, was dribbling, was doing a bit of flicks and tricks. But for Reece Nelson on the other side, he was just flat, very annoying. But now it is what it is. He signed a contract last season. Hopefully, we can sell him this coming summer and move him on and trying to replace him, because I was extremely disappointed with the performance I saw yesterday from Reece Nelson. I'm sure a lot of you were disappointed. Like, you should take that chance against Luton and push for a starting bet, or actually put yourself into the reckoning of the manager. But with that performance he had yesterday, it was absolutely as not just good enough by any stretch of the imagination. He's not just good enough. Guys, do me that kind favor, strike a like on the video. If you're new, if you're watching this on a playback, be kind enough to strike a like on the video. Very important for the growth of this channel and the algorithm. So let's talk about ESR. Smith Rowe yesterday was just fantastic. I know I made a video with my guy, my friend Efosa, whether we should keep Smith Rowe or not, because of the spite of injuries he has suffered in recent years. I got a commentator yesterday was saying that was Smith Rowe's first start in a long time. I think over 2 years. That's long. I understand he has done a few surgeries on his groin to get back, but Smith Rowe is getting back to his best, even though I listened to his post-match comment where he said that he had cramp after I think after 60 minutes, which is understandable. He hadn't played a competitive game in a long time for that long stretch, so it's understandable. He's still trying to build his fitness back. But what I saw yesterday is turn on the ball, his movement, his pressing. Now, I like the fact that we all know what Smith Rowe can do offensively. There is no surprises when it comes to offensive, but it's pressing and tackling and the defensive side that I saw yesterday from Smith Rowe, very, very impressive. We saw it was expressing that led to the first goal. That is what I want to see more from Smith Rowe. You see, it's not only the modern game. We cannot carry passengers. As much as you can do your offensive duties, doing your defensive duties is extremely important. And I loved what I saw from Smith Rowe yesterday, and I'm actually happy that he did that. Shout out to my guy Oximoto. Nelson is not a 90 minutes player, he's a sub. But I understand that. I understand you saying he's not a 90 minutes player, even though for the first 45 minutes, what did Nelson do? He was playing like a League 3 player. No dribbles, no taking on your man, sideward passing, backwards passing. He wasn't progressing the ball. So for me, Nelson for me, he's not about 90 minutes of Zomoto. I understand what you're trying to say, but he didn't do anything tangible. Even the goal was about claim. It was an own goal officially. That's not Nelson's goal. So it's not about the minute. He was just flat yesterday. He offered nothing going forward. Now, to be fair, defensively, he was not doing his defensive duties, but you're an offensive player. You should have a balance between your offensive duties and your defensive duties. He didn't do his offensive duties any justice yesterday. He didn't do anything good enough, in my opinion, yesterday. And for me, yesterday I had a chat with Mr. J that came on the channel during the live, and he said he actually giving up on Reece Nelson a long time ago. I was just saying, let's see what he can do. But right now, I can't make a logical case for Reece Nelson to remain in this team. The team has evolved past him. He is not good enough. It's time to move on Smith. On Reece Nelson, in my opinion. The streets won't forget 2021, 2022 ESR. Sure, that ESR was majestic. That ESR, we still saw the glimpse of that ESR, the movement, the tone, the way he can switch from from defense to attack so effortlessly. We saw it yesterday. It's still there, and hopefully we can keep him and actually he can have more games if he stays the next season. Will he stay for next season? We don't know. So we don't know. But hopefully, if he stays next season, we can get our ESR back, because what I saw yesterday, he still got it. He hasn't lost it. It's still on him. So let's see what the future holds for ESR at Arsenal. If he stays, I think he will get more game time, provided he can stay fit. I think the issue with ESR most of the time is the fitness issue. If ESR can stay fit, he will get game time. Arteta likes him. Arteta even confirm he likes him. So he will get game time, provided he stays fit. It's the fitness issue for me that's the downfall of ESR. If you can get over the injury woes, I think we will enjoy ESR and win trophies for this club, and they remain here for a long, long time. And I'd love to keep our academic products that are good enough instead of selling them. If you're good enough, you should be able to keep them so that they can have that attachment to the club, in my humble opinion. I think ESR met a very different team to what he played in 2021, 2022. I think they see a player there, but he won't exactly. Shout out to you, High Priest. He must stay fit, and I think ESR will evolve. I think he's not a dumb player. He's a very sharp player. You can see he's willing to learn. He just needs to stay fit. If ESR can stay fit, there is a fantastic player in there who can take us to the next level in conjunction with the other players already have in the team. We need the profile of ESR kind of player in the team, because you don't want to have similar profiles all over your team. You want to have players that provide different dynamics, different skill set, different movement in your team. You don't want to have similar profiles, and I think ESR will do us a great of good if we keep him. Unfortunately, we didn't see Fabio Vieira yesterday, so hopefully we can see whether Fabio can actually come in. I was hoping we'll see Fabio yesterday, but it's so unfortunate he didn't play. But hopefully, let's see this weekend. Maybe he might get something to actually do something. What is this? Please, I joined the live stream. What have I missed, guys? You've not missed anything much. We're just talking about yesterday's game, talking about Partey had 66 to 67 minutes yesterday. We're talking about ESR looking great, and we talked about the downside, which was Reece Nelson, who did not play as much as a lot of fans were wishing he could play. Because I was hoping Reece Nelson can take another step to the next level and see whether we can keep him. But after the game yesterday, that was the last straw for me. I don't know for you guys whether you guys are a bit more benevolent and willing to give Reece Nelson a bit more time. I think right now he's not just good enough for the level we are aspiring to get to, the trajectory which Arsenal is going to. I don't think Reece Nelson can fit in. It's time for him to move on, maybe to a Brentford, to a Brighton, to a Luton. We need to just sell him and get some money for him. I think he's overly too comfortable. He's not pushing hard. You can see ESI trying to push something. ESI is trying to move to the next level. Injuries have stopped him. But for Reece Nelson, he's not suffering with injuries, especially this season, but he's not progressing. And it's time for Reece Nelson for me to go. It's time for him to go. Shout out to Frederick. SCN, the gap between Saka and Nelson is so wide. We need he's not saying he's overly gaping. The gap, I agree with you. The gap is so wide. Like, that's why I want to move on. We need to see, guys. What do you think is priority? Let's have that conversation. A winger or a striker? Let's be objective, guys. What do you think? Which one do you think is priority? A winger this summer or a striker? If you had one chance to get one player this summer, elite player, will it be a winger or a summer? Because personally, the way I'm looking at it, we can still get by with a striker because we still have Jesus. We know he has his injury problems, but he's still there. And we still have Trossard who can fill in there. And we still have Kai, who is doing a fantastic job. But when we don't have Saka and Martinelli, the drop-off is not sustainable for a team who wants to remain up there. So I think for me this summer, we need to prioritize getting a winger over a striker. Everybody is shouting, oh, we need to get a striker. I think we need to get a winger as quick as possible. We need to get a winger as quick as possible. Giving up on Nelson and Eddie. Me too. I've given up. I've given up on Nelson and Eddie. For me, Eddie and Nelson, and especially Eddie. I gave up on Eddie since the beginning of the season. He's not up. He's not up for debate. He's not good enough for Arsenal. He needs to. We need to move him on. We need to sell him to a Brentford, to all those teams that will need him. He can't do it. He can't hack it. Nelson and Eddie, they cannot hack it at the highest level at Arsenal. They are not just good enough. It's time to move on. Shout out to my guys, Rodrigo to Arsenal. Come on, Ozimoto. You know it's not going to happen. I say I would love it to happen, but I'm a realist. There is no way Real Madrid will sell us a talented young player like Rodrigo. It's not going to happen. He's not going to move from Real Madrid to Arsenal. Like, I know that Arsenal are doing well right now. Arsenal up there. Arsenal can compete right now with Real Madrid. I'm not talking about the heritage or the titles won or the history, but in terms of competing with Real Madrid right now, Arsenal can do it. But why would they sell us Rodrigo? They won't. I'm sure they won't entertain the facts. They won't entertain the conversation. They will not entertain the conversation to actually consider selling us Rodrigo. Come on, Oximoto. I understand you are aspirational. I know Arsenal can afford the best players right now, but there's some things we should look at and say it's not going to be plausible. It's not impossible. Things can happen, but is it probable? Oximoto, do you think that is probable? Rodrigo to Arsenal, guys, do you think it's probable? I don't say it. I wish I could actually be excited, genuine, and say it's possible. It's probable, rather. It's possible, but it's not probable. I don't think it will happen. So High Priest says a striker that has the technical ability to operate on the wings. If Isak can stay fit, you just answered the question. High Priest, shout out to you. If Isak can stay fit, but it's not about if he can't stay fit. If you look at the long laundry list of Isak injuries, he can't stay fit. For me, Isak would have been the perfect player for us to go and get this summer. I don't care about Newcastle having this Saudi owners, but the FFP has actually nipped Newcastle, right? They can't actually do what Man City did or Chelsea did a few years ago, right? They can't do that call of FFP. It would have been a perfect time to actually go to Newcastle and actually pick their best player. But unfortunately, the injuries are too much. We can't ignore that. You can't go and bring in an injury-prone player to add to the Jesus we already have, to add to the Zinchenko we already have, to add to the Partey we already have. That is not a smart thing to do. So I'll love to get Isaac. For me, it's the profile, the technical ability, the pace, the vision, the Henry kind of goals he scores. I'll have loved Isaac, but the injury record is just appalling. You can't ignore it. Like, we cannot ignore the injury records of Isaac. So for me, it's a no-no. Very rare to get decent left-footed wingers. Very exactly. Look at Neto. He's always pulling hamstrings and hamstrings all the time because he can't stay fit. Neto will have been a fantastic player, but he can't stay fit, and we can't go and actually plunge 80 million pounds excess onto a winger who can't stay fit. So, but guess what? Edu, Richard Garlic, Arteta, and their scouting network, they have the information. They have to just find a winger out. It's their job. Maybe if they pay me to be a consultant, I can go and do that job. But right now, we need to find wingers that are hidden gems. We need to scout the whole of Africa, Europe, South America. I am sure we can find a fantastic footed winger if we do our job. They might not be mainstream right now, they might not be popular right now, but it's time to put the scouts to work. We need to find wingers as quick as possible. Frederick, excellent shout out to you for making this live. Shout out to everybody here for making this live very interactive. I'm enjoying this. Hopefully, I will continue to do this kind of live early in the morning, henceforth every day, God willing, because I still have to go to work. But I enjoy doing this kind of live stream before I go to work, and I hope you guys too can continue to join me and can actually talk about Arsenal and football in general and enjoy ourselves. This is a difficult question, but bro, I cannot allow playing Saka for months sorry. This is a difficult question, bro. I cannot allow playing Saka for this month of 1,000 minutes. There is still Euros to come. For me, a winger that can play across the front line. Yeah, we are saying the same thing. But to get that quality winger that can play across the front line is difficult. That can not only play, but that can stay fit. Fitness is very important too. That can play at a high level, at a certain level, and that can stay fit. That is a $1 million question. That is why the scouts have to. Now, the easy answer is to say, oh, Neto, but Neto is injury prone. Rafinha that went to Barca, he has bombed up Barca. I don't think any Arsenal fan will want to also go and get Rafinha from Barca because they're not playing well. So it's a tough one. We'll begin to like that. It's job for the scouts to actually continue to comb the whole of Europe, comb Africa, comb South America to find these players. We need to just do that. Not just players that are good enough that can take us to the next level. Not players that will be redundant, that will keep us at a certain level. We don't want to go and buy players that will or come and give us what Reece Nelson is giving us. No, players that can take us to the next level. Those are very hard to find. Somehow we have to just find them. You just have to do our homework and find them. Oxymoto, shout out to you. We all know Mbappe won't play ST. Vini has his position. So what are you saying? You think we can go and make Real Madrid for Vini? See, Brazilian players, number one, love to play in Spain because of the weather, the food, the cultural affinity, right? They don't like to come to England because it's a bit too cold. The culture is vastly different from what they experience. So that one is there. They're living Real Madrid. It's difficult for a lot of these players. So I wish it was easy for us to go to Real Madrid and go and get their players. Unless these players are desperate to leave, it is not going to be easy to get any player that is featuring in the first team of Real Madrid to come to Arsenal. See, I'm a realist. I wish it was possible, right? But I'm sorry. For the most part, it is not going to be easy for us to go and get Real Madrid players. It's not going to be easy. I wish it was easy, but it's not going to be easy. Frederick says, which winger can we get that can play across the front three? Right now, I cannot answer that question, Mr. Asian. I wish I could. The only winger that comes to my mind easily was Neto, because I was thinking, go to Wolves, go and put down the money and buy Neto. But with this last injury he suffered again, I'm like, nah, Neto can't do it. If you look at the Premier League right now, which winger can we go and get that can do it? Most of the wingers are not great. For me, Arsenal has the best wingers in the league right now. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you guys can actually provide me a logical and sensible pushback. Aside from the Arsenal wingers, I won't take Salah is aging, is on a decline. I won't take Luis Diaz is 29, it might be on a decline in the next few years. So which other wingers? Modric went to Chelsea, is looking lost today. Paul Palmer, a bit overrated. He's a good player, but I won't take him. Which other wingers? There are no quality wingers that will take us to the next level in the Premier League. So this topic is actually more difficult than a lot of people anticipated. So let's see. Neto, yeah, look at Osmond said it. Even Pedro is injury prone. Exactly. Shout out to Frederick. Say Nico Williams. That's an interesting choice. They play in the Spanish Liga. I've seen it. Even Mr. Fosa actually recommended Nico Williams. I've watched a few clips of him, excellent clips. I've not watched a full game to understand what he does off the ball, on the ball. His moves sometimes. Sometimes you need to watch players in the full games to get the full grasp of the players. Because watching extended highlights and just watching a few clips can be misleading sometimes. Because everybody, we all see Arsenal fans, you can tell Pepe looked great on clips, right? Pepe looked great, but it didn't even fit in how we're playing. So sometimes clips can be misleading. So Nico Williams for me, he looks nice, and endorsement from someone I respect his opinion. Efosa says he is a kind of quality winger. I've looked at him. Now he's looking great. Looking great in La Liga doesn't mean you hack it in England. We've seen it. A lot of players, they look great in one league. They come to England, it's kind of iffy. On the flip side, he can do it in Spain and actually may actually do it more in England. That's a possibility. Sometimes buying players can be a bit of lottery. You might be lucky, I might not be lucky. So I will take a gamble on Nico Williams. I'll take it, but nothing is guaranteed. I'll take. He looks good. Is a bit dexterous. Can play on both the left and the right. Can use both feet equally good. So I'll take a gamble on him and let's see. But is that kind of player Arsenal will go for? Because you can have these conversations. We don't know whether Arsenal will actually intently go for those kind of players. So let's see what the summer brings. But Arsenal has to be thinking about getting in a winger. Very, very important. We just have to think about that. We have to do it. We just have to do it. Can we scout? We can scout for wingers during the Euros. Nah, the Euros will be, because if we're going to get players in the summer, right? You have to start talking to your agent and scouting it now. You can't wait to the Euros. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible, but then prices are overly inflated and things could be a tad very, very iffy. Then and get a bit muddy. So it's not impossible, but I prefer we start doing our scouting right now. Now that we're still in April, so you can actually do the background work, do the checks you need to do, and get it done immediately the transfer window opens. I will bring Kevin. Oximato is kidding. You are on the trolling. Pip, Musa Dembele from Aston Villa. Mr. Essien, are you serious about that? He's not looking all right. He's bang. I'm sorry, he has scored a few cracking goals, but Musa Dembele, come on, he is not looking all right. I ain't taking him. I'm sorry. Nah. He's not going to take us to the next level. We need players that will up the ante, no, not that will maintain the ante or take it below. Musa Dembele from Aston Villa, nah, I'm sorry, he's bang average. Maybe okay, bang average might be a tad too far. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but he's not that guy. Nah, I ain't taking him. Musa Dembele is not that great. Nah, he's high. He's not that great. I ain't taking Musa Dembele. For Aston Villa level, let him stay there. He's not going to take us to the next level. He's not going to make us significantly better. So, nah, I won't take him. I understand that's your opinion. Maybe you want that, but nah, I won't pick him. Shout out to you, though, Frederick Essien. Let me ask you, among the two competitions we have left, which one we first to win? I have to pick one, right? If I have to pick one, now, firstly, I would love us to win a double. That's it. That's what I would love us. But you have to pick one. Mr. Frederick say I have to pick one. I'll pick the Premier League. I know a lot of you say, "Oh, we've not won the Champions. Let's go and win Champions League." We'll still win the Champions League. It's been a long time. For me, the Premier League is the bread and butter. See, Champions League is good for the ego, right? It's good for the ego boost, but you need a bit of luck to win the Champions League. But when you win the Premier League, 38 games, that is not luck. You played 38 games, and the numbers of wins and some draws made you the champion. That's more fulfilling. That's a comprehensive measure of success. Not some you getting through the group stage, get the luck of the draw. Like look at last year's Carling Cup that the Manchester United fans were celebrating, right? It papered over the crack. We knew that Manchester United were doing smash and grab. They were shoplifting points, but they won the Carling Cup and their fans were bragging. Now look at what's happening today. Because I saw it that method of winning is not sustainable. Smashing and grabbing, shoplifting points. They almost did against Brentford at the weekend. It's not sustainable. So that's why I prefer the league, because the league shows you where you belong. Look at Manchester United. The league is showing them where they belong. Look at Chelsea. The league is showing them where they belong. But if Chelsea or Manchester United go and do a smash and grab in the FA Cup or the Carling Cup, they'll be bragging about how good they are. No, but the league is the measure of how good you are. So that's why I'll prefer to win the league over the Champions League. But for ego boost, definitely I want the Champions League. If you've not won it before, it is a dent on our history. So I will want us to win the Champions League. But if you look at it comprehensively, the league actually will show you where you are genuinely. That's a real barometer of how you're doing amongst others. So that's why I always prefer to win the league over the Champions League. Champions League, hands down, Barca ruined my childhood. I need to heal. Yeah, I understand. Me too. That day, that's one of the worst days I've had watching football. How Barca ruined that. But I still think, for me, the league supersede the Champions League. Even though I want to win it, I am desperate to win the Champions League, and I know eventually we'll do that. But for me, the league is that yardstick, is that barometer that measures authentically how you are playing, how good you are. The league shows you where you belong in the food chain in comparison to Champions League, where you can get fortunate with the luck of the draw. In the league, there's nothing like luck of the draw. You are playing everybody twice, home and away. So that's it. So you are happy we sacrificed the cup competitions. There's a tendency for us to go trophyless this season. That's why I'm upset we got knocked out of the cup competition. I don't think we sacrificed the competition. And if you sacrifice it, then I think it's sensible, because if you look at them, you don't want to sacrifice certain. Now we had a whole host of players injured. Partey was out. Tomiyasu was out. So those games that we lost, especially in the Carling Cup, if you had certain players fit, maybe we would have seen been in Carling Cup, maybe we'll have won it. So you have to look at the context of what, when you are playing the cup, to judge sometime. I don't think we throw it away, but we're not going to sacrifice our main players for the league for a Carling Cup. You have to weigh the priority. Sometimes in life, you have to just give priority to what is most important. I want to win the Carling Cup. I want to win the FA Cup. In the FA Cup, the situation, we didn't throw the FA Cup away. Liverpool did a smash and grab. We should have won that match. If you go and rewatch that match, we missed a whole host of chances. I don't understand how we did not score against Liverpool in that FA Cup tie. How we lost that match against Liverpool at the Emirates, I don't understand. But that's football. Football can be cruel sometimes. These things happen. So the context of the Carling Cup, we had a whole list of players out that will have played in that match and will have beaten West Ham. But it is what it is. I don't think we threw it away. It's just how things can be sometimes. Things can be like that sometimes. But guys, I still have faith, based on what I'm saying, the defensive performances, our offensive furrows, you can see that the players are keen to rewrite the wrong of last season. You can see the zest. You can see that the players are up for it. Look at the data. It's matching the eye test, guys. It's not impossible we go trophyless, but there's still a huge probability we'll win either the Champions League or the league. And there's a small chance we win both. So I'm still optimistic. I understand your question. There's a chance that we don't win anything this season, even though I'm not advocating any of this, but even though we don't win anything this season, we still progressed. I know the rivals will trigger a lot of people and say, no, it's a lie, you didn't win anything. Now, do not fall for the farce. they can see the trajectory. The reason why a lot of rival fans and the pundit, the English pundit, that we know most of the media pundits in England are full of former Manchester United players, Liverpool players. They are upset because they can see Arsenal trajectory. They can see it. You have the best centre half pairing, arguably one of the best DMs in the world. Odegaard is look at 24 is looking majestic. We have Smith Rowe, we have Saka, we have Martinelli, we have Kai. These guys are within 25, 24. They can see it. We have we have arguably best team right now. Even though if Real Madrid buys Mbappe, we can go to the Bernabeu and compete with them without no fear. That's the level we are. So sometimes you have to put things in perspective and in context to actually look at the broad picture. But fans, especially opposition fans, who argue in bad faith, oh, you didn't win anything, oh, you guys are bozos, do not get triggered. It comes with the territory, right? This prejudice, people now mask as banter. That's not banter. Banter is witty. Banter has some sense. What a lot of people do on panels, they say it's not banter. It's just hate. Because you are misinterpreting the statistics, you are misrepresenting the facts. So that's not banter. So I'm not sacrificing cup competitions. I just think sometimes the nuances that is applied at that time, majorly the injuries at that time, you cannot sacrifice the league for a Carling Cup. You shouldn't be doing that. So it was the injuries that cost us the Carling Cup. And in the FA Cup, it was just a smash and grab from Liverpool. They didn't deserve to win it based on the play. And that day, unfortunately, we were not later in front of goal. That's why we missed out on the FA Cup. So apply the context as an Arsenal fan and look at things in broad picture. If the opposition fans don't look at it that way, I get it. It's part of their duty to look at it that way. But for all Arsenal fans, we can look at it and look at the context and nuances surrounding such exits from certain cup competitions. That's my humble opinion and summit on it. That Liverpool match, bro, exactly. That Liverpool, we didn't deserve to lose that match. But it is what it is. Football can be very cruel sometimes. Arteta has shown me that we can defend like anti-football. Exactly. Atletico, we give me confidence in it. That's what, see, if you watch how we defended against Man City, that is evil. No, see, we didn't just defend like an Everton who don't know what they are doing, that are defending, hopeful defending. We defended the spaces. That's another level of defending. We make sure the spaces that they can occupy to harm us, no chance. And while we are defending, the Man City actually recognize the fact that even though these guys are ultra defensive at this point, our transition can be little. So they were still mindful, knowing that even though we are defending this deep, our transition can be little. So do not let Man City fans and the mainstream pundit gaslight you. Go and watch how Man City were defending against us in that same match. Go and watch it. Man City too were defending aggressively and deep when we're on the offensive. We had the best chances of the game. Now, they'll say we parked the bus. I'm not saying in parts, in spells, we did not park the bus. I'm not saying that. But guess what? We still had the best chances of the game. See, these same pundits were lauding Mourinho parking the bus to win the title. Remember a few years ago when Chelsea won the title, they parked the bus for most of the games. These same pundits were saying, that's how you win leagues. This is how you win leagues. Now, we've been playing exciting football, blowing teams away, scoring goals, and seldomly we introduce our inner Atletico Madrid. And they are offended. Cry me a river. Cry me a damn river. Cry me a river. This is crazy. You cannot laud one person when they park the bus, right, throughout to win the league, and we partly park the bus sometimes for the result, for the adaptation at that moment, and you are going to cast aspersions on us. You've lost your mind. I'm not buying that. That's why I don't think the mainstream media seriously, even some of these bigger content creators who are full of hyperboles, trying to trigger a lot of people, you're waffling. We didn't park the bus for 30 games. We've been playing exciting football, but once in a while we just not chipping the parking of the bus, and people are offended. Get offended. I don't care. I do not care. There was like 5 players on Jesus when he was doing exactly more than 5 players. 7 players to be exact. Go watch the still photos. It was 7 players on Jesus. So, but the mainstream media will not say Man City were parking the bus. They will say they were defending. So, what is good for Man City is not good for Arsenal. The agenda against Arsenal is just ridiculous. It's just, you can say it's blatant hate, it's blatant prejudice. But I understand it, and I'm not offended. Just adapt to it. Frederick, as I said, what's your nationality? Also, what changes you, or what changes will you make against Brighton? Having in mind we have Bayern. Yes, I'm Nigerian. Yes, I'm Nigerian. What changes would I make against Brighton? Against Brighton, I'll bring in Tomiyasu for on the left for Zinchenko. In the midfield, I'll play Partey and Rice from the beginning of the match. I'll play with Odegaard. Then I'll bring in. Hopefully, I think Arteta does this. He's just lying. Saka and Martinelli will come back against Brighton, and then I'll go surprisingly with Jesus. I won't start Kai. For me, we need a different dynamic. Jesus was fully rested midweek, so I think Jesus should be starting against Brighton. Give Brighton something they don't expect. Right? Brighton were expecting to go and start with Kai. Start with Jesus. Jesus, let's not forget what Jesus gave us when it came to Arsenal. I understand the injury worries. So a lot of people suddenly, there's something about human beings and our brains. We are quick to forget something that has been there because there's a new toy in town. You just bought a new car, you forget the old car, you just bought a new sneaker or a dress shoe, you forget your old shoes. No, I will bring back Jesus for this game. I'll start Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka up front. And we know Brighton cannot defend. Now, they drew yesterday against Brentford. That is the exception that disproves the rule. Brighton concede goals like a leaking fridge. They can't defend. So, Brighton will concede goals. Brighton how will I put it? Brighton will come out and play and be overly aggressive. So, I just think this game, it will be one of the easiest games because the pundits are saying, Brighton can be a chink in our armor. Brighton can surprise us. I disagree. I think Brighton will be one of the easiest games because they will come out and play ball. So those are the changes I will make. Shout out to you. And he says that, bro, I can promise you that the media hates us, which means we are doing something right. Look at Sky Sports saying that we deliberately did not want our players to play. Exactly. The media does not like us. If you look at it from Arsene Wenger's days, when Arsene Wenger used to play French players, why doesn't have English players? They do not like us. It's obvious. They do not like us. So it is what it is. It is what they do not like us. So that's why I want Arsenal fans to look at the games logically and think for themselves, or subscribe to content creators that are logical, who are not overly chasing clout, who can explain their position. The media do not like us. They push narrative. And when I say narratives are not the truth, narratives are not objective truth. They're just something you just push and see, like when you're dancing in the dark and see which one will stick. That's what the media is doing. And they know, once Arsenal fans don't know that Arsenal is a very marketable club on and off the pitch. So talking about Arsenal will bring you views and clicks and get your mainstream media, your mainstream outlet popping. That's what they're doing. It is what it is. Oh, shout out to Mr. Oxymoto. You are the first person delivering a super chat on this channel. Oh, shout out to you. I'm so happy you've been a huge subscriber since the beginning of this channel. You are the first person sending me a super chat. I do appreciate this. Hopefully, we'll continue to navigate this channel together. You've been supportive to this channel. Thank you so much, Mr. Oxymoto. I really appreciate this. The agenda on us is good, because if we win, we can be unbearable to rivals. I don't say unbearable. See, this comes with the territory, right? Rivals will poke at each other. It comes with territory. I don't take offense when rivals poke at us when we lose or draw. It comes with territory. The problem is that sometimes these guys are not analyzing the game in good faith. That's my major problem. If they're analyzing the game in good faith, that's fair. But the mainstream media, these rival fans, will push a lot of hyperboles, which are not true. That is my major issue, which are not true. So that's why the agenda, they keep on pushing it. That's why I call it an agenda. It's not the truth. It's an agenda. Let's push it, even though it's not the truth. And sometimes they are presenting agendas as truth. Like they'll say something like Arsenal have the harder games. They don't put on paper to qualify it. Now on paper, Arsenal seem to have the harder games on paper. But guess what? The so harder games are not as hard as I think because Spurs will come as an attack. Brighton will come as an attack. The only hard game I see is against Man United because we are playing at Old Trafford on top of their ego, and the second game to the end of the season. Because their ego, they'll push. But do you know what I know about Manchester United? A lot of us have seen this season objectively. Their players can't stay fit and they can't defend. This is not old Manchester United. The new Manchester United, they cannot defend. Their players can't defend. The smash and grab they had in the FA Cup against Liverpool, it was a chaotic game. What I tag a dysfunctional game that they did a smash and grab. They can't repeat that performance. So that's why when the media are saying Arsenal have the hardest fixture, on paper, yes. But if you look at the objectivity of it, I don't think so. Because Liverpool playing Everton at the Goodison Park and Everton needing to survive and stay and keep their Premier League status is a different kind of game. Now, on paper, Liverpool have the better players, right? Liverpool are the stronger team. But the fact that you are playing a team that needs to survive, and keep their Premier League status, so let's see. See, in the next 7 weeks, we'll find out who is lying, who is pushing agenda, and who is being objectively truthful. We'll find out. Shout out to you again, Mr. Oxmoto. Frederick comes again. The major issue with Jesus, aside injury, is finishing. People tend to see more to output than contribution. But football is not just one-sided. I understand Jesus is not the most lethal of the striker, but what he facilitates, the likes of Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli to score, is not. Statistics cannot capture it. That was like, see, when people use statistics, you have to make sure you have a bright IQ to use statistics because there are nuances within the statistics. There are things that statistics cannot catch. Jesus, for me, he might not be lethal, but what he contributes in terms of dribble to draw away players to leave Saka and Martinelli free is not quantifiable. Yes, I want a little striker. We don't have that right now, but Jesus is still an integral part of our play. Jesus took us from low end to title contenders. So we cannot just throw him away because right now we have a shiny new toy in Kai Havertz. Let's not do that. And Kai Havertz is 2 yellow cards away from 2 game suspension. That's why I was mad yesterday. He acquired that unnecessary yellow cards for diving. Kai Havertz needs to fix up. We do not need our key players getting suspended in this running. So that's why I want Jesus to start against Brighton. Let Kai Havertz have a bit of a rest. He has been playing all the games. He's playing for Arsenal. He's playing for Germany. Kai Havertz has, even though he's a durable player, he's young, but you do not want to overstress him. So I prefer we start with Jesus, Saka, and Martinelli against Brighton, and have Rice, Odegaard, and Partey in the midfield. That's good enough to actually beat Brighton. Brighton are not as superior as a lot of people are giving them credit for. They are not the same team. They are defensively vulnerable. They are kind of a yo-yo team. You don't know what kind of Brighton you get. So we shouldn't be afraid of Brighton. Last time I remember Arsenal beat United at Old Trafford when Adebayo scored 06-07. Yeah. And guess what? That Man United team, in relative terms, because it's not easy to quantify errors and time, but in relative terms, is a stronger United team compared to this lot. This Man United team right now is extremely overrated, over-bloated, and ego-driven. They are not as good. People are still just projecting what Man U used to be on this Man United. They are not the same Man United team. They are just being carried by their name, which is brand name of Man United. They are not that great. They are not that great. They are not. So for me, that will be the hardest game we have in the running, and I'm convinced we will actually beat Man United comprehensively at the Old Trafford because their players can do it. We know Rashford will try and score one on one of these runs. He'll maybe score one and he'll fade out like a bad fart. You will not see him throughout the game. But our players are intentional. Our players are purpose driven. We know there's a prize waiting. So there is an incentive for the players to play out of their skin. There is an incentive for our players to play out of their skin. So, and I think that's the hardest game we have, and we'll negotiate it. Some will say Spurs away. Spurs away. We beat them last season. People will tell me, oh, but look at the end of this season, they almost beat us. Yes, they almost beat us. Look at what happened that day. Partey was missing, Jesus was missing, Rice played with a back injury until he played a back injury. Jorginho made that silly mistake. Jesus missed a glorious chance. So there are other factors that made it easy for Spurs to draw at the Emirates. But this time, touch wood with a fully fit squad. Spurs for me, they are not they can't do it. We will beat Spurs comprehensively, in my opinion. So, guys, shout out to you, all of you from Mr. Oximato. Shout out to you, Frederick Essien. One more person, High Priest, for making this session a very interactive session. Should be here tomorrow for another live at this same time tomorrow for us to talk about Arsenal. We'll be looking forward more intensely to the Brighton game at the weekend. Hopefully, there won't be no news of any injury to any of our players. According to reports and according to Arteta, there was no injuries. Touch wood, we have no injuries. So we keep ticking along. Liverpool will be playing Sheffield United today. Is there any surprises? Now, logically, I don't expect any upset. But this is football. This is football. We are allowed to hope. I'm allowed to hope that Sheffield United can just go to the Anfield and just shit on their parade. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. But is it plausible? Is it possible? Is it probable? That's a tough one because the quality Liverpool possess, let's be fair, they should actually be beating Sheffield United. I won't be surprised if Liverpool puts at least 4 to 5 goals behind Sheffield United at the Anfield. It's a possibility, but it's football. Let's see what can happen. It's not. It can happen. Maybe today might be the day we maintain being on the summit. If Sheffield United can do us a favor and go to the Anfield and stink it up. So, guys, that'll be all for today. We beat Man United 1-0 Aubameyang November 1, 2020. Yeah, that you're right on that. We actually beat them in that 1-0 victory. That even for VAR, the referee almost did what they have been doing for Man U for a long time. So thank God there was VAR to actually help us hold on to our victory on that day. Guys, shout out to you guys. I'll be dropping on that pre-recorded video before I leave for work in a few. Shout out to everybody that have made this live very, very interactive. I enjoyed my minute. I shout out to you for spending your time. You could have been spending your time doing something else or spending your time with me this early morning here. I am very, very grateful to Oximato, to Frederick Essien. Shout out to you, Frederick Essien. Shout out to High Priest. You guys have made this live session worthy and very interactive and added quality to this. Hopefully, we'll be here tomorrow to talk more about Arsenal and other matters arising regarding Arsenal. Maybe sometime we'll dabble into other Premier League clubs. So, guys, make sure you have a productive day. Take care of yourself. Be safe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.